Greetings, greetings, greetings. It is the Apetabia Losha Oshun Yemi Akala Tunde. This is Got to Be Oshun Television. I know I have not been as posting, haven't been posting as often as I used to in the past, but I am in graduate school right now and still homeschooling and of course running my business. So don't really have time to post as regularly as I did in the past before I was back in school. But it's not because I'm not thinking about y'all, not because I don't still want to spread this holy good word. So I wanted to come online today and discuss the reason for my Black Witchcraft classes and kind of give you an idea of why they exist and the purpose of the class. So as of I think it was in June, may have been May. I think it was May. I'm lying. I think it was May. As of May, I actually started teaching a Wizards of the Perfect Black class as well, which is a class that is for men. And I continued my Black Witchcraft class, which has been going on for about 5 years, maybe more. And that is, of course, for Black women. The purpose of my classes is to change the narrative that you live by. And what I mean when I say change the narrative is that everyone is living and is acting out a story. The truth of life, and this is why storytellers in every culture have been revered and treated as religious leaders. Storytellers in every culture are considered to be religious leaders for this reason. Because the truth of life is that the stories that you are told become a running reel in your mind. And then you live them, you enact them, whether this feels good to you or not, whether it is what you actually want to do, whether it is what you feel led to do. Once you are told a story over and over again, your mind registers that as the truth, and you then begin to act out that narrative. I'm using narrative in this particular video synonymously with story. So when you hear me say narrative, just think about story. So you begin to act out that narrative. Now, what I see as my duty here in this particular lifetime is to change the narrative for you. The narrative that we are acting out right now is a narrative of male supremacy and a narrative of female inferiority, a narrative of patriarchy, and a narrative of Black inferiority. Those are the narratives that we're acting out. Even when we can see intellectually that these things are not true. Oh, my instance is out of control. I'm going to point it just a little bit that way. That's a whole lot. It looks like I'm in concert and got the dry ice popping off. But even when we can see that those things aren't true, because those are the narratives that we were continually fed, we continue to act them out. I This is essential to change for the proper practice of witchcraft. I'm going to give you an example of something that we are taught by the patriarchal, the white heteronormative patriarchal narrative that we were all given as children. So we are taught that men have a very strong physical desire. We are taught that women's physical desire is less. This is part of the narrative that we're told. We are told that in order to get a woman to act on her physical desire, a man must talk her into it. So this is something that we're taught. So we walk around and we, men and women, are walking around living life as if this is true, as if this is factual. This is what causes a great deal of the chaos that we experience in male-female relationships because we're living as if that particular story is true. Women actually feel. Women do not actually feel as if they don't have a high level of sexual or physical desire. That's not how women feel. Men do not always feel like coaxing a woman into being intimate or being physical. A woman who is consenting, a woman who likes him, a woman who is attracted to him. I'm not talking about rape in this particular thing. Men don't always feel like initiating a sexual act. Men don't always feel like having to make it seem as though they have to manipulate a woman into a sexual act. Neither one of us feel like doing this. Yet, we enter into relationships and that's what we continue to do over and over again. And even if your partner tells you something different, then the narrative generally is going to keep you acting in this way over here. You're going to speak, you're going to act, you're going to interact according to the narrative that you've heard. So this is chaotic. If a woman has a high sexual desire, if she has a high sex drive, if she's very sexually active or has a high physical desire for people that she's attracted to, then she oppresses that. She suppresses that. She represses that. Not oppress. She suppresses and represses that. Okay? If a man has a lower sexual drive and is not very highly physically attracted to, not very sexually active and physically attracted to the people that he likes, he has to pretend that it's higher than it actually is. This causes chaos. This causes chaos. Even when it comes to being in a relationship, take sex out of the equation. When it comes to approaching someone, when it comes to liking someone and wanting to get to know them better, the narrative that we're taught is that women are not interested, they don't want to get to know you better. Men are interested and you are the ones that want to get to know everybody better. And so you are always acting in accord to something that you think is actually against you as a man. You're pursuing something, but you think, there's no way that she can really want me. There's no way that she can really want to be with me. But you're constantly having to pursue in spite of that. That's just a narrative. That is not what is true. Each individual person feels whatever he or she is feeling. He, she, or whatever other pronoun he, she, or they is feeling. Each person feels that. You have to get to know that person to know what they feel. But because we've been fed a particular narrative, this is how women are, this is how men are, then most of us are acting according to that narrative. This is why our relationships fail. Because we're acting according to a narrative, we're not paying attention to the actual person that we're with. We're not listening to the person that we're with. We're not tuning into the person that we're with because we believe that we know everyone like this feels this way. That's a narrative. It's not facts. It has nothing to do with individuals. Now, let's take this back. Those are examples that we can all relate to. But let's take this back to witchcraft. So in this white supremacist, heteronormative, patriarchal society, we as Black people, the narrative that is constantly being fed is that Black people are powerless. Black people do not have power. Black people do not have a voice. Black people do not have rights. Overall, Black people are not human beings. They don't have the rights that other human beings have. You do not have to respect the rights of any Black person. This is the narrative that we are constantly being fed. And even when we educate ourselves, even when we look around and we see something different, we educate ourselves and we learn something different. We learn of the achievements of our ancestors, close ancestors, ancestors all the way back into antiquity. Even when we learn these things, we are still moving through life playing that particular narrative. If you don't change the narrative, if you don't change the story that is playing in your head, there is no way for you to fully fulfill your destiny. There's no way for you to fully be yourself. So when I teach Black witchcraft, when I teach Wizards of the Perfect Black, I spend the first 4 weeks giving you a new narrative. And this narrative is based on facts. So it's not actually a narrative at all. I spend the first 4 weeks just telling you the facts about yourself. Once you have the facts about yourself, then the narrative automatically changes in your mind. Now, that's not to say that you're not going to have to remind yourself, oh, wait, that's not true. Oh, wait, I've gone back to my default of acting as though I'm powerless, acting as though I'm dumb, acting as though I do not have resources. So I'm not saying you're not going to have to remind yourself, but I spend the first 4 weeks laying the facts out for you. Who are you? What are you? What is your place in the universe? How have you been viewed since you existed on this planet? Those are the things that I cover in the first 4 weeks. The last 4 weeks, we talk about invoking deities. We talk about the cycles of the moon and the cycles of the sun. We talk about the use of precious stones, gemstones and precious stones and things of that nature, crystals. And we talk about the use of herbs. But all of this is useless if you are still walking through life enacting a story that is not true. Enacting a story that strips you of your power. Enacting a story that makes you feel as if you cannot stand fully and squarely up on your own 2 feet. That's useless. So I know that a lot of people come to the class and they're expecting me to give them spells. They're expecting me to teach them how to use dark energy. They're expecting me to show them how to hex people. I am a firm believer in the truth that if and when you know who and what you are, and when you begin to stand in your power, the spells come from you. They come from inside you. The most effective spells are the spells that you create yourself. Once I give you the tools to do so, and you are standing fully in your power because you now know exactly who and what you are in the universe, then you will begin to automatically create the spells, the rituals, the mantras, the affirmations, the prayers, the invocations that you need for you. You will create those automatically. That is natural. That comes naturally once you are standing fully in your power. So I wanted to say that because I don't want anyone to feel misled. I don't want anyone to misunderstand what my courses are for and what my courses will do for you. That is the purpose of my courses for Black men and for Black women, to change the narrative that you're living inside your head so that you can stand squarely in your power and call to you all of the blessings that you chose for yourself before you were born in this lifetime. That is the purpose of my courses. Now, with that being said, Black Witchcraft and Wizards of the Perfect Black will begin again in a week from now. We're not meeting this week. Next week we will be meeting for our group spell. And so Black Witchcraft and Wizards of the Perfect Black will begin again on October the 11th. Now, Wizards of the Perfect Black, as I was saying, that is for the brothers, for Black men. This is teaching Black men who and what they are in the universe, how they have been viewed since the beginning of time, and what that means from a metaphysical perspective. The Black Witchcraft class is for Black women. This teaches Black women who and what they are in the universe, how they have been viewed from the beginning of time, and what that means from a metaphysical perspective. That's the first 4 weeks, as I said before. The last 4 weeks, we learn about herbs, we learn about crystals, we learn about deities, and we learn about the cycles of the sun and the moon, and how to use these things to manifest, to draw to you what it is that you need. I am not in the business of creating or condoning people being irresponsible. I'm not in the business of that. When you decided to be born again in this particular lifetime, then you became responsible for this life that you're living. You are supremely responsible. So I am not going to be responsible for any of your spell casting, for any of the decisions that you make in life, for any of the turns that you may decide to take this way or that way. I'm not responsible for that. And I will not create people who are irresponsible in that way and are looking for someone else to take responsibility for their action. I'm not going to do that. That is not what it means to be a witch. That is not what it means to be a wizard. What it means to live and to walk the path of the wise woman is to be ultimately responsible for yourself and for those people that you brought into the world or those people who depend upon you. That's what it means. So you are responsible for your own health, physical, mental, and spiritual. You are responsible for your own education and the education of anybody that you have brought into this world or that you are responsible for. You're responsible for their education. You are responsible for the life that you create, for the life that is around you. You have manifested that. So you are responsible for that. You are responsible for your own happiness. Once you know who and what you are and where you stand and the place that you hold in the universe, then you know what you need to do to draw those things to you. And on that, I stand. On that, I am sure. Of that, I am sure. Because I have watched it happen in my life and the lives of so many of the men and women that I have had the honor of teaching. So I am not putting people out. Nobody is leaving my class and out here just irresponsible, just willy-nilly hexing, just willy-nilly throwing energy, willy-nilly out here sick and not taking care of themselves, children well behaved, children all out the box. I'm not teaching people to walk that path of irresponsibility, because when you're not responsible for yourself, what that shows is that you still see yourself to be powerless. People only want to not be responsible for themselves and their actions when they feel powerless. So the purpose of these classes is to stand you squarely in your power. I will not sit here and pretend that that's an easy thing. And that's why I said what I said about being responsible. It's not easy. It is not simple. It does take a conscious redirection of your thought process and a conscious redirection of your perspective all of the time. It does require that. It does require hard work. It does require study. It does require introspection. It does require reflection. All of those things are required in order to actually be a witch and a wizard. It is not just a mantle that you take on lightly. It is not something that you just say because it is the latest fad. It is an actual way of life, the way of life of our ancestors, to be totally and completely honest with you. But having said that, if you have not taken the course, please join us for Black Witchcraft. It will begin on October 11th. Wizards of the Perfect Black will also begin during that week of October 11th. I will have to see how many men sign up for the class. And once you sign up, I'll let you know what day during the week your class will fall on. That's for the men. Now, sisters were clamoring and asking me to do a Black Witchcraft too. So there is also the option, if you have already taken Black Witchcraft, to take Black Witchcraft 2. In Black Witchcraft 2, I discuss the invocation of the deities. I discuss a sex magic. I discuss seduction. And then we have a group spell. At the end of every class is a group spell. There is also a Wizards of the Perfect Black too, because the brothers wanted to continue their study as well. And it covers those same topics: seduction, sex magic, invocation of the deities. And then we come together, brothers and sisters, to do a group spell. So I wanted to let you know first what I was offering and why. and give you those examples of the importance of those narratives that you're running and how they are influencing your actions. And second, I wanted to let you know when the new class is beginning and what you can expect from the new class. If you are interested in signing up for the class, please go to my website, www.got, the number two, the letter B, OSHUN, .com, and sign up. It is, I think it's in the products, under the products tab, where you will find the Black Witchcraft class. You have an option of paying the entire tuition up front, or so as not to put a financial strain on anyone, you also have the option of paying weekly, of a recurring payment coming out weekly. So those are your two options as far as payment is concerned. I look forward to continuing to work with my brothers and with my sisters. It is a blessing and an honor to be able to fulfill my destiny by sharing the information that I have taken the past 20 years gaining and painstakingly gathering with you. I am fully and completely and totally committed to fully educating my people, because I understand that once we know who and what we are, we can begin to act like who and what we are. So thank you for the opportunity to do so. I look forward to working with all of you. All right. Peace.